Hello, second grade. It is so good to see you. We are going to be doing some word problems today, but it's all about money. I cannot wait to get started with you today. Let's go ahead and look at our learning target, and then we're going to jump right in. I can solve word problems involving different amounts of money. Guys, I have to tell you that when we look at this learning target, it's saying a couple of different things for us. One, our problems and what we're going to be thinking about are a story. They're a context. They're going to be giving us some information that we have to make sense of before we can start solving it. Two, it's not just about numbers. It's about specific kinds of numbers, which is money. Yes, but it says different amounts of money. So as we look at our money and we think about that, what are some kinds of money that we already know? We know about dollars. What other kinds of money do we know about? Yes, we know about our coins. What kinds of coins do we know about? Okay, we know about pennies. And how much is a penny worth? 1 cent. What other coins do we know about? Nickels, 5 cents. Great job. What's another coin that we know about? We know about dimes. And how much are dimes worth? 10 cents. And what's another coin that we know about? Yes, we know about a quarter, and those are worth 25 cents. And when we look at our dollars, remember, we know about lots of dollars, right? So we know about our $100 bills, our 50, our 20, our 10, our 5, and our $1 bills. So we know about a lot of dollar bills, and we want to be keeping those in mind for one or both of these problems and for all the problems for the next couple of days. And we'll keep putting those up there with each learning target as we think about these to help refresh our memory. This is stuff we've done before, right? It's nothing new, but it's extra practice. And extra practice helps us keep it fresh in our minds so we don't forget it. Plus, the more times we practice, the better we get at it. All right, let's take a peek at our first problem. And guys, I have to tell you, I had to read this problem a couple of times to make sense of it. So we're going to walk through it together, and then I'll give you some time to work on your own. Caden has some pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters in his pocket. He pulled 3 of those coins out. What combinations of coins could he pull out? What could be the greatest amount of those coins? And what could be the least amount of those coins? Now let me read that to you one more time. Caden has some pennies, some nickels, some dimes, and some quarters in his pocket. Okay? These are the coins that he could have in his pocket. He could have more of these if he wanted to. This is what I've grabbed. These are similar to what Caden has. Does it tell us how many pennies? How many dimes? How many nickels? How many quarters? No. What does it say? It says he has some of those. So we don't know how many he has of each, but we know he has some of them. What does he say that what else does it say that we know? Yes, he pulls 3 of those coins out. Are we counting all the coins that he has in his pocket? Or are we counting the 3 that he pulls out? Yes, we are thinking about the coins that he pulls out. Now, if these are in his pocket, have you ever had money in your pocket and you don't know how much you have, and you reach in and you grab some out and you see what you have, and then you reach back in and you grab some more out and you realize there's even more than what you thought you had before? Right. So each time you go in and pull them out, you get a different group of coins. And eventually you find out how much you have, right? But he pulls 3 of these coins out. Now this could be any combination. You guys are going to think about all the different combinations that he could have, right? You're going to come up with as many as you can possibly think of, and we'll have a chance to share all of those in a little bit. I want to model this for you though. So I have some coins in my hands. I've got some pennies in there, some nickels, some dimes, some quarters, all mixed up. I'm just going to grab 3 out, okay? And this is what I've got in my hand. I've got 2 quarters and 1 dime. So what I'm gonna have us do, and you can actually do this in your math journal, you can draw a T-chart. And this T-chart's great because it's going to tell you 2 things. 1, the coins that you have. And then 2, it's going to have the amount or what it is worth, the value of those coins. So the coins that I have are 2 quarters, 2 quarters, and I have 1 dime. Okay? I put my amount, my coins here, and put my value over here. So I know that each quarter is worth 25 cents. So 2 quarters is worth 50 cents. And then 10 more than 50 is 60. So next one I'm just going to write 60 cents. Everybody see what we're doing? So you are going to imagine 3 coins that you could put together. Can be any mix of them. Could be 3 quarters, could be 3 dimes, could be 3 nickels, could be 3 pennies, could be a combination of pennies, nickels, dimes, or quarters, pennies, dimes, whatever you want to make it. You are going to come up with as many as you can think of while we work. And I'm going to be popping around and asking you what your combinations are and how much it's worth. And then after we come together, we're going to talk about what is the greatest amount that we found and what's the least amount that we found. What could be the smallest amount? If you want to do that first and then come up with all the combinations in between, you can do that too. Okay? So your job while I'm coming around and listening to you is that you are going to put 3 coins together and figure out what that combination can be, what the amount is. And then we're going to see if we can find the largest amount that we can possibly find with just 3 coins and the least amount that we can find with just 3 coins and just a bunch of other combinations in the middle. What kinds of coin combinations could he come up with? You may go ahead and begin. Remember, as always, if I stop and I come together too early and you're not ready for me and you have the ability to stop me, you may feel free to pause me and then resume me when you are ready. Capiche? All right, let's go ahead and get started. I can't wait to see the combinations you come up with. What did you decide to do first? Oh, how much is 3 pennies worth? You think that's going to be the greatest amount, the least amount, or somewhere in between? Why do you think that? Yeah, you can't get any smaller than that, can you? Would you share that with us as a whole group? Thank you. All right. Ooh, what do you have? And tell me about this combination. How did you figure out how much it was worth? And when you skip counted, what did that sound like? So do you think that is the greatest amount, the least amount, or somewhere in between? Somewhere in between. It probably could be we could probably have less, can't we? And probably could find something that is worth more. Keep going. That's a great combination. Ooh, 3 quarters. What do you think about that 3 quarters combination? How much is it worth? How do you know? You know that 25 and 25 is 50? Okay, and then 25 more is 75. And how did you know that? Oh, you've added your 10s and then your 1s. That's a great strategy. And do you think that's going to be the biggest amount, the greatest amount, the least amount that we could come up with, or somewhere in between? Why do you think the greatest? Okay, can we, is there any coin that's worth more than that quarter that's in his pocket? No, so if all 3 of our coins are those, then our number can't get any bigger, can it? All right. Friends, as we're coming back together, we're going to be sharing at least 5 different combinations. Now, does that mean that it's going to be all that you've already thought about? No. We are going to have, you probably have so many more combinations. we don't have time to find them all. Now, I will challenge you that when we're done, I want you to see if you can come up with all the combinations. That'd be a fun little challenge, wouldn't it? All right, friends. So let's start over here. You put together a combination. Did you think it was the greatest, the least, or somewhere in between? All right, so she said 3 pennies. And she thinks it's the least amount. Why do you think it's the least? Okay, so it's worth 3 cents because 3 pennies, they're each worth 1 cent. So it's worth 3 cents. Our pennies have the smallest value. And so if you put 3 of the smallest value together, it's gonna be the least value. What about my friend here with those 3 dimes? What did you think? Somewhere in between. Why? Because there's something worth more than dimes, something worth less than dimes, and so using the 3 of those is just somewhere in between. Okay, how about our quarter person here? You think you have the greatest amount? What did you put together? 3 quarters. Why? Okay, it's worth 75 cents. Why do you think it's the greatest amount? Because the quarter is the coin that's worth the most. And so when you have 3 of those, it's going to have the biggest value. All right, what were some other ones that we had? Oh, okay, 1 quarter. I'm going to shorten that. 2 dimes. Ooh, what's that worth? How do you know it's worth 45 cents? 25, 35, 45, okay. All right, what do you think? What about the next one? Is there another one that we can do? Let's come up with, let's share 3 more. Let's fill in some more of these spots. How's that sound? Ooh, 1 dime and 2 nickels. How much is that worth? How did you know it was worth 20 cents? Oops, look at that. I put dollars instead of cents on that one. Whoops, daisy. There's a big difference, isn't there, between those two? I'm glad you pointed that out, friend. Oh, there's a big difference between dollars and cents. All right. Gotta love that oopsie tape, don't we? All right. How do you know it's worth 20 cents? 20 cents, thank you. 2 nickels are worth 10 cents because it's 5 and 5 makes 10. And 10 more is 20. Ooh, what'd you have? 3 nickels. And how much is 3 nickels worth? 15 cents. All right, what is a combination that is more than 30 cents but less than 45 cents? Does anybody have one of those? What would fit in this spot right here? More than 35, but more than 30, but less than 45. Ooh. 1 quarter, 1 dime, and 1 nickel. Ooh. And how much is 1 quarter, 1 nickel, and 1 dime worth? Okay, so 25 and 10 more is 35. 35 and 5 more cents is 40. And 40 cents is between 45 and 30. These are just a few of our combinations, aren't they? So I want to challenge you when we are all done. You can go ahead and see if you can fill in some of these missing spots and come up with all the combinations that our friend Caden could have in his pocket if he pulls out 3 coins. Very nice. As we look at this, we don't have all the possibilities, do we? Now, how did we know? What did we use to help us figure out what was going to be our greatest amount and our least amount? Oh, yes. We thought about the value of these coins, didn't we? We thought about how much our dime is worth, our pennies, our nickels, our quarters, and we use that value to help us guess or help us make a good decision about that, right? So if we have a coin that's worth the most value and we use all of those, it's going to be the greatest. But if we use a coin that has the least value, and we put all those together, it will have the least, right? So using that value and thinking about that is so important and will help us as we look at this next problem. Let's take a peek at it. Xander has $12.75 in his bank. What are some possible dollar bills and coins that Xander could have in his bank? So before we go on, I know that we talked a lot about when we were learning about coins and dollars the first time, that this is one way to look at an amount of money, right? So using a dollar sign, and right here, there's a dollar sign, and then using a decimal point is one way to show our coins and our dollars. But we also know in second grade that we can read that or write that also as $12, and instead of writing that decimal point, use the word and then write our cents, okay? So those are two different ways to look at that. When you see this, that decimal point is a lot like that word and. It's just connecting our dollars and our cents. So we can also write it like that. Now, just like with this problem up here, but maybe a little flip-flopped, we have an amount and we have to decide what are different ways that we could see that. Before, we had a group of coins and we had to figure out how much those could be worth. Now we have a value we're looking at, don't we? And we have to put our dollars and our coins together to make that amount. Okay? So I want you to think dollars, coins, what kind of combinations can we put together to make this amount? And we'll share a couple of them after I give you some private think time, and we'll talk about how we know and how we can be positive that those put together make this amount. Go ahead and take a few moments of private think time and start drawing that out in your journal. Now, just like I did, well, not like I did up there, just like I did with our coins, I wrote my circle and I did my amount in between. If you're thinking about drawing your dollars, you could write it like this. I'm gonna put a $20 bill. I do a rectangle when I draw that, or a dollar sign, and then however much it's worth. So depending on what dollar you're going to use, that number will change, but if you draw it with a rectangle, that's a great way to show your thinking for that. Go ahead, I'm gonna give you some think time to work on this, and I'm gonna ask some questions of my friends to help you think as you're going, and then resume me. If I start too early, resume me, or pause me, and then resume me when you are ready to listen to the ways, okay? You may go ahead and begin working. All right, so what do we already know as we start thinking through this problem? He has $12 and he has 75 cents. Great. So what can we use to help us figure this out? What do we have to do first? Oh, you're doing your dollars first, all right? And so what can you use to help you figure out? Okay, so you know that 10 and 2 makes 12. So how can you use dollars to make 10 and 2? Do we have a $2 bill? So how could you make 2s? Oh, all right. And then how about those coins? What could we use to put together for those coins? And how did you count those coins? Ooh, I see this way. Is there another way you could solve that? Friends at home, if you're ready to listen, great. If you're not, please pause me and we'll pop back in together in just a little. You can just resume me when you're ready to listen. All right, we've got one way over here. Talk to me about what you did first. Okay, so you looked at your dollars first, and when you looked at your dollars, what did you find? It was 12? And okay, so 10 and 2 makes 12. So then, do we have a $2 bill that we can use for this? No. All right, so this is the first way. I'm going to do it in different colors other than the orange so we don't get too confused with this. All right, so you did a $10 bill, and then what? 2 $1 bills. Okay. And how do you know that equals 12? 10, 11, 12. Okay, and then what did you do? Oh, you put 3/4 together. And why did you put 3/4? Okay, because 3/4 makes 25 cents. We spend a lot of time thinking about that, haven't we? What do you guys think? Agree, disagree? A few friends had that same one. Okay, what's another way we could show this amount, $12.75, that Xander has in his bank? Okay. Ooh. So you didn't do a 10, you did 2 5s. Okay, and you still did the 2 $1 bills. And how do you know that equals 12? 5, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and then what? Oh, so you did a 1/4, and then you did a bunch of dimes. Okay, so walk me through this. What did you do? You said 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75. So how many dimes did you have? 5 dimes. So when you said 25 here, and you said 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, which got you to the 75 cents that are in his coins. Ooh. Which one is more efficient so far? Probably this one's using the fewest amount of dollars and coins, but does this one work? It does. So if you had to buy something that was worth 45 cents, this one would be really handy dandy, right? You would be able to give them this 25 and these 2 dimes, and you wouldn't have to get any change back. You could just give that to them. That's why we want to know all these ways, right? So it's kind of like when we're adding and subtracting our 2 and 3-digit numbers. We have to know all these ways to make these numbers, because sometimes we're going to have to regroup. That's the same way with coins, right? Sometimes we're going to have to make change or make smaller amounts. And if we don't know the different ways to make it, we can't make those smaller amounts quite as easily. All right, let's do our third way. This one's interesting. I like it. Talk to me. Okay, so you still had your 10 and your 2 $1 bills. Oh, you didn't have one of those dollar bills. Oh, I'm so sorry. What did you have instead? Because where's your 12th dollar? Oh. You traded it out for 4/4. So you didn't use that last dollar. You used 4/4 instead. So here's your $12. 10, 11, and 4/4 is worth $1. So then what about your 75 cents? Okay. You also had 5 dimes. Okay, and then what? 50. Oh, you have lots of coins. 55, 60. 65, 70. Oh my goodness, then you had 5 pennies. You used a little bit of everything, didn't you? All right, so how do you know that equals 75? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. Oops, I'm sorry. 75. So you group those 5s together to make those 10s. Does this one also show $12.75? It does. Are these all the ways? They are not. Second grade, I challenge you as you're showing your thinking today with your independent practice sheet and even with your game bag of money. I want you to be thinking about all the ways you can make these coin combinations. See if you can come up with all of the ways. It's kind of a fun challenge to take on. I'll see you tomorrow with more word problems with money. Happy solving!